Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Caffeine, and I welcome you to week 2 of ACSaturdays, season 26, IndyCar Insanity. Wait a minute. Huh? Wait a minute, what? They cancelled it? Hold on, I'm checking. Oh my god, dude. What? Alright, whatever, man. We'll just race Indies next week. So, as you know, last week's race was supposed to be the second race of IndyCar Insanity. The Charlotte race was meant to take place on Saturday, but, well, turns out the oval kit car was crashing people's games. So because of that, the race was cancelled and pushed back a week with a new opening round set at Laguna Seca. Now, as for races 3 and 4, since the ovals were removed, I honestly have no idea what track it's going to be. Tate hasn't called them out, so for now, it's still a mystery. But for this week, instead of Indy cars, me and Simonas decided to take on something a bit different. Our first ever Enduro race. And not just any Enduro, we went for 4 hours at Road Atlanta, a track that neither me nor him had ever even touched before. Yeah, I know. You're probably expecting something like 4 hours of Spa, right? But no. It was awesome, dude. It was awesome. The grid was absolutely filled. We had 24 cars, and I'm pretty sure there were over 50 drivers. In the race, we'd be driving the GTM Lanzo V10, which I think is modeled after a Lamborghini. Me and Simonas planned to have 2 swaps. The first 1 hour would be me, then he'd drive for 2, and then me again for the last hour. Now, let me let you in on a secret. We didn't actually plan for having 2 stops. We thought there were going to be 3 mandatory stops, and it was that way. Up to like a week before the race. Apparently there was an announcement. We're stupid, we didn't see it. We planned the race for 3 swaps, then mid-race we found out. So it ended up being kind of scuffed, with Simonas having to do pretty much a double stint. But it all turned out fine. So that's what's important. Since Simonas is faster than me, we decided that he's going to do the quali. And he did considerably well, putting us in P15 with a 1:21.9. Although that ended up being kind of pointless because on the formation lap I went a bit too fast and hit the guy in front of me and spun, which after that I was second to last. Although the actual race start went really well for me, moving up from P22 to P15 in just 4 turns before getting sent into the wall on turn 6 after I hit the brakes too early. Yeah, that one was on me. I fell back to P21, although right at the next lap multiple people pitted and I was back up to P18. But not for long, as I had another collision in turn 7 with someone who had an incident, and I was once again hit with the P20 curse. The following laps were going a lot better for me, even managing to get some clean overtakes, coming out to P12, and by lap 12 I was catching up and lapping the ones at the back of the grid. So overall, I was driving pretty cleanly and only going slightly on the grass in a few of the turns. On lap 20, I was catching P10 when he went into the pits, and for the first time in this race, I was in a top 10 position. On lap 21, as I moved out to P8, there was the first VSC of the race, as someone who had blown their tire.
Running a virtual safety car, there's someone on track with a blown tire.
And like the Ferrari fan that I am, I for some reason didn't pit during the VSC, instead pitting right after it ended. So, yeah, no comment on that one. After exiting the pits, I quickly fell behind P8 and JJ right behind me in P10, as I defended like prime wide Alonso for half a lap, after which I nearly spun out and lost the position. And the following 10 or so laps were pretty peaceful, with only a few DSCs being deployed for some stuff. I don't know what happened, but on lap 35, I was catching P7 real nice, and I sent this diabolical dive bomb into the chicane, and I pulled it off. Oh, get the replay on that. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Anyway, as we reached lap 37, there was a safety car, during which I pulled to the pits for our first driver swap, 1 hour into the 4-hour race. Simonas drove out of the pits right as the sun was setting at P15, quickly getting P14, but being a lap behind everyone who was ahead. Just a handful of laps in, he had a huge spin, but he just barely managed to save it, doing a swag 360 in the process as well. I do have to mention though that his stint was a lot more dangerous than mine, because if he were to break his headlights, we'd have to pit right on the next lap to avoid a penalty, as well as, well, so he could see the track. And I'm gonna be honest, Simonas was on another level in this race. After 16 laps of his stint, excluding that one spin, which he did save by the way, there were no accidents. He was super clean, he was super consistent. Now, you might say, oh, but that's pretty average and to be expected from the average racer. And to that, I show you this. We got no penalties in the whole 4-hour race, when so much of the grid did. And that just goes to show how much we actually locked in this race compared to the others and compared to our own performance in races prior to this one that were maybe not so clean. Right, where did we get off? Oh right, it's lap 62. Simonas is in P10, driving down the back straight, lapping P16 with P11 behind him, nearing the chicane fast with the 2 cars behind him. He's nearing the braking zone, and P16 drives slightly on the gas. He tries to recorrect himself and goes too far left, smashing into the other car. They both spin out on the chicane entrance. They both fly out. Somehow neither of them hits Simonas. Let's get a replay on that one. Ooh. Seeing as he was on ancient 23 lap tires, Simonas finally pitted and he missed the pit box. Come on man, seriously? He came rolling out of the pits having lost 2 positions, a lap behind P12 and 35 seconds ahead of P14. The next part of Simonas' stint was actually really good and consistent, which also means it was boring. There weren't any cool overtakes or even any big crashes. Although on lap 76 he had a pretty big crash after he lost it going into turn 12. He didn't lose any positions, but P11 went from being 3 seconds ahead to being 17 seconds ahead. Unlucky. Skipping through the boring laps a bit, we're at lap 84 and we've just hit the halfway mark of the race, 2 hours. We see Simonas has moved up to P10, with all those overtakes just being from people who were ahead of him and pitted. So, that's kind of lame, man. After a few more thousand laps of driving around in circles, Simonas, being on lap 98, despite having 4 or 5 minor crashes, had climbed up all the way to P7. And he was giving it his all, trying to further climb up to a podium position. And he just lost his best chance. Wow. That is really unlucky. Now, strap your seatbelts on for this one. It's lap 116, 3 hours into the race, middle of the night. There's 2 cars ahead of him. He gets a good exit. He goes in between the 2, making it out without touching. Holy shit, what a move. He doesn't make the next turn. Oh my god, you can't make this shit up, I swear. He didn't even do it for a position. It's literally just for the love of the game. As Simonas is P7, he loses it. He bashes into the wall. Somehow his headlights are fine, but he's all the way back in P9. But one crash isn't enough to bring him down. Oh no. He's chasing and he's chasing hard. Tension is high, his fuel's low, and he hits the person ahead of him. Gets turned around backwards. Oh, that's gotta be sad. And he was close to getting P8 as well, but it is what it is. Overall, I'd say absolutely massive stunt from my teammate Simonas. 2 whole hours of fighting tooth and nail to keep us in the top 10s. But now it's my turn to get back on track for the final hour. I went out into the final stint of the race in P9, behind Benja Banana, and after I lost that position, everything started going downhill. There go my headlights, meaning I have to pit if I don't want to get a penalty. So after 10 laps, I had already pitted and exited, surprisingly still being P9, and there being a VSC on the lap right after I pitted. A few more laps and I wasn't just not gaining positions, I was actively being chased by the guy in P10.
Fernando is faster than you.
With him overtaking me on lap 138, with exactly 30 minutes remaining of the race. Although I hit a mean dive bomb on him on the turn 10 chicane. A lap or 2 later, there was another VSC and I decided to pit for the last stint of the race, as I would have needed to pit later on otherwise for fuel. So I filled up for the last final push, coming out at P10 with light years of distance between both P9 and P11. And after that, it was mistake on top of mistake, 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 and just like that, without getting a single meaningful overtake or position, I finished mine and Simonas' first ever Enduro race in P10. Actually, it's a pretty great position for us, considering that we're a midfield team at best, so, you know, just making it to the end of the race without being last is massive for us. Without a doubt, the MVP of our race was Simonas, so a word to him.
Hello guys, it's Simonas. So caffeine glazes so much, and now I wanna return the favor to some of my favorite people from this community. Firstly, I wanna say a word about Benjamin Anna's team's insane comeback, where they, after having technical difficulties and falling 2 laps behind me, Benjamin Anna still managed to get ahead of me and finish in P7. And I especially wanna congratulate my favorite person to battle from this community, Cream. He and his team held a strong all race and finished in P6. And overall, I wanna thank Tete for hosting this spectacular race.
Thank you to everyone for checking out this video of our first ever Enduro race. I do have to say sorry that it came out way later than the race happened, so again, Happy New Year to everyone who stayed till the end, and I'll see you in the next race, which should hopefully be Laguna Seca this Saturday. Goodbye.